Everybody, Mr. Pat from the Windward Boys and Girls Club. Let's see what happens with this thing. Folks from other places all around you jumps up in the air, they're about to surround you. Hope the virus hasn't found you. People, won't you wear a mask for me? We wish our leaders would all slow down, but they're afraid our economy gonna go down. Makes me feel so low down. They're putting my life on the line. They're putting my life on the line. They're putting Hey everyone, let's put this thing away. It's Pat, Windward Boys and Girls Club. Like I said, that was a weird take on I just was scrolling around the internet looking at stuff. There was a movie about Billy the Kid called Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. A lot of movies have been made by that old outlaw guy, Billy the Kid. This one was unique and it featured a soundtrack by Bob Dylan. Had a bunch of these. There's guns across the river about to pound you, and kind of cool songs. It also had a really famous one, Guns N' Roses covered, called "Knocking on Heaven's Door." It's a great song, real slow tempo. I just wanted to do this one. He had all these outtakes on Billy 1, Billy 2, Billy 3, and I changed the words up because we're in a real state of flux right now where things are getting back to quotes normal, but there's going to be probably some repercussions from that. So we have to still stay vigilant as we can and not let our guard down so we protect not just ourselves but others. That line about wearing your mask for me is important. I wear mine for you. I hope you're doing the same for the people you love. All right, enough of that soapbox stuff. Time for a math lesson. Okay, so we're going to dial in another review day. Next week, I'll start back in and do that quadratic formula I talked about. For now, we're going to do two basic things, and I titled them both there. Adding fractions, which we did a little bit ago, and solving proportions. Sorry. Hey, get up there. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to do a couple add fractions things. I'll use that division house again, and we'll see where that gets us. So let's start off. Here's number 1. I got negative 12 over 35 plus 9 over 40. So adding fractions is one of the more complicated things students have to do. You have to have a common denominator. They usually want you to find the least common one. A bunch of different approaches. I'm going to concentrate on that division house again. So what I'm going to do is we are going to need to rewrite each of these fractions. There'll be a new bottom number that has to be the same. Whatever's here has to go there. And then also we won't have negative 12 and 9 anymore. There'll be new top numbers. And what we have to figure out is what goes here and how do we change the tops. So we did that. I showed you how to use this cool thing called the division house. So I'm going to do that again. So we put just our bottom numbers inside here. Okay. Now there's one number I can think of that goes into both of them, and it's 5. Goes 7 times here, goes 8 times there. So, dude, you got it already, because 7 and 8 can't break down anymore. If they could, we'd keep going, but they can't. So what we're going to do is we're now going to put our stuff together already. So this is critical, not straight up, but bottom left times top right. So 35 times 8, 40, carry 4, 280. So that should be our new bottom. The way we verify it is we go bottom right times top left. Check it out, 280, bam, I love it. So they're both 280, so we found a common denominator. So we're halfway home. But we have to know how to change the top. You can't just put negative 12 and 9 anymore. So what you do is, you look at the 35 is hooked up to the 8. So I'm going to multiply this by 8. That's how I got that. So I have to times the top by 8. So this number here not only helps you build the denominator, it tells you what to multiply the top by. 8 times 12 is 96, but it's negative. Okay. Do the same thing. 40 is hooked up to the 7. So you don't multiply by 8 here to get 280 times by 7. So you do the same thing right there like that. So that's 63. Now you're good to go. So now you got a common denominator. You built the tops. So your answer will have that in the bottom. And you have to know what negative 96 plus 63 is. So let's do this carefully here. It's a negative and a positive, so I minus them. So when I subtract carefully here, I get negative 33. The reason it's negative is the bigger number is on. I'm going to make that look more like a 3. The bigger number is negative, so my answer is negative. So it's a super cool way to add fractions. You wouldn't have been able to do that any quicker and more accurately than that. You can go back and check your work, especially this top part. Okay, that's what the division house does for you. Okay, and we're going to do one more. This is all stuff you saw in a previous lesson, but equations, fractions, proportions, graphing, all those things, good to repeat. Get review, get practice, especially when you've been out of school so long. 23x over 84. This is problem number 2. I'm just going to keep it plus again. 11 over 63. That work? Yep. Okay, same plan. Same attack, same plan. Something's going to go here. We don't know what. Let's do this. Put the 84. Put the 63. Oh, and you might not know. You're like, here's a rule. Add the numbers up. See how 8 plus 4 is what? 12. See how 3 goes into 12? That means 3 will go into 84. If it adds up to something that can be divided by 3, the number itself can be divided by 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. So since 3 goes into that, 3 will go into this too. So if I put 3 in here, it'll go twice. And I'm dividing by 3. Should have put that out there. Goes in twice, 28 times. This might be easier for you, 3 into 6 without a remainder, so that's 21. So on this problem, we're not done after one step. Okay, you need one more step at least. Okay, there's 8. Okay, so now 7 goes into both of these things. So it goes in 4 times, 3 times. Now we're done. Because nothing goes into 4 and 3. I don't see any variables there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going bottom left all the way up. Not just one step, all the way up. Bottom left, top right, we say. 3 times 4 is 12, 24, carry 1, 252. So if we were successful in our division house, that'll be 252. Keep this row going. Boom. Bottom right. Oops, write the right number. You won't be disappointed. 63 times 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry 1. Look at that. 252. Awesome. That is exactly what we want. If it's not the same answer, then you made a mistake somewhere. Okay, I will repeat for you. You can't just write those two numbers there. You got to do some adjustment. 84 is hooked up to 3. That means you had to times 84 by 3. That means you times the top by 3. 3 times 23 is 69. Don't forget your x. 63 is not hooked up to 3. You had to multiply this by 4. So I multiply this by 4. So that's my new top over there. Okay. And again, what you're doing at this point is combining the tops accordingly. Now those are not like terms. That's the reason I picked one algebra one. You can't put that together and say 113x or whatever. So that has a variable, that doesn't. They're unlike terms. So you have to write it on the top as a binomial, as 2 terms. There's no other way to do it. And you cannot cancel the 44 and the 252 because of this addition going on. So that's your answer. So I just wanted to give you another taste of adding fractions with this division house. Can look back at my other lessons, got more of those with more algebra. Time well spent if you're spending this time. Okay. All right, I'm going to erase all this. And let's do some proportion stuff. Okay, a proportion is 2 equal fractions. Like if I said 8 over 12 and 2 over 3. That's called a proportion because the fractions are equal to each other. The thing about proportions is the cross products. If you go 8 times 3, you get 24. And if I go the other way, I go 12 times 2, and you get 24. So anytime you have a proportion, the cross multiplying equals the same products. Top left, bottom right equals top right, bottom left. And you use that to solve. So that's what we're going to do. And I did not pick easy ones. I picked some algebra-oriented ones. We'll do 2 of these. Okay, ready for this. Okay, so here is the rule. It would say solve the following proportions. So they say this is a proportion. What that tells you is this thing times this whole thing has to equal this times this whole thing. Not part of it, not just the number, but the whole thing. So what you do is you go 7 times x plus 6. You're multiplying 7 times the whole deal. And that has to equal 5 times 2x minus 9. So that means you're doing a double distributive property. So you're doing it here and here. So this side is 7x plus 42. Remember, you're multiplying, not adding. And then over here, you get 10x, that's 5 times 2x, minus 45. And those two things have to be equal to each other. So now you have your algebra stuff you did second quarter where you have variables on both sides. So we're going to get rid of one of our variables, and it's usually better to pick the smaller one. So I am going to, you can't combine them because they're on different sides of the equal sign. 10x is on the right, 7x is on the left. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to minus 7x away here, but then I got to minus it over here also. That cancels. I got 42 equals 3x minus 45. Okay? So I cross multiplied. I set the products equal to each other. The multiplying itself required the distributive property on each one. And then I solve the resulting equation. Okay, at this point, I am going to erase this so I have a good place to work. And before I erase down there, I'm going to copy what I got. I got 42 equals 3x minus 45. That's this thing right here. I just want a place to work, so I'm doing that. Okay. So now I solve that, and then I'll be done. So I want my variable by itself, nothing else. So I have to get rid of what's being added or subtracted first. So since this is minus 45, I'm going to add 45. Whatever you do on the right, do the same thing on the left. 2x equals 87. So now you're dividing by 3. Either you pop your calculator or you get old school and do this. So x equals 29. Okay, awesome. So solving proportions, huge thing to know how to do. It helps you with do stuff you wouldn't be able to do any other way. Take you forever to guess and check it. Okay. Last one of these. Let's see what happens here. 4 x plus 15 over negative 4 equals 9 over x. So this one's a little trickier, but it follows the same rule. Okay, write that down. Bottom left, we're going top right. So negative 4 times 9, 4 times 9 is 36, but it's negative. That has to equal this x times that whole thing. So x times x plus 15. So this one I didn't need distributive property, but this guy here I do totally. So negative 36 equals x times x is x squared plus 15x. And you're like, what the heck do I do with that? Okay, so this is where things get cool. All that quadratic stuff, what we did the other day, comes into play. We're going to move this. I want you to watch this. We're going to add this here, and we're going to add it over here. That 0, it goes away to 0. Nothing else. So I got x squared. Now these are not like terms. Please don't put it to 51x. It can't. Plus 15x plus 36. Okay, so we still did our cross multiplying. We did our distributive where necessary. We checked to make sure we did that right. Didn't forget the x. And we clear one side completely and bring everything to the other side. And that's where we're at. So what I'm going to do is, like I did before, I'm going to erase this and give myself a space to work. So I got 0 equals x squared plus 15x plus 36. So there's a couple different things you can do. Try square rooting, blah, blah, blah. Factoring sometimes works, and what we're going to learn next week is what to do if it doesn't. Turns out this one is factorable. So what you're going to do is, since this is equal to 0, you're going to try to factor that right side. So in 8th graders, you're familiar with this. So check it out. Only one way to get x squared. That's got to be that. What goes here and here has to multiply to give you that and add up to that. So you need to think about or list or look at the factors that will give you 36. So it's 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12. There's lots of them. 4 times 9, 6 times 6. So these are all factors of 36. Since everything's plus, that's a great thing. It makes it easy. That means they're going to add up to 15. So you search these pairs till you find the ones that add up to 15, and it turns out it's that. So that adds up to 20, that's 37, that's 13, that's 12. Awesome. So one of these will be 3 and one of these will be 12. Awesome. Okay, you're not done yet. You want answers, you want solutions. So since it's equal to 0, you use that property of 0 products and you solve each of these. Nice, easy ones to solve. I'll go through the process nonetheless. X equals negative 3 is one of your answers. That's one of the ones that would work in that equation. And the other one, x equals negative 12. Okay. I guarantee you if you plug either of those back into that equation, that proportion, it will come out a true statement. So this is one of those ones, because of the quadratic part of it, that you might not see it right away, but you're learning how to handle even the complicated problems. So that's what this is all about. So I hope you're practicing with that. Hope that was worthwhile for you. Okay, thanks to Billy the Kid and Bob Dylan. It doesn't matter if you're singing Bob Dylan's song and your voice is kind of weird and cracky, because his is like that too. Anyhow, I have fun doing these for you. I hope you're watching them and getting some use out of it. Hopefully we'll be able to get together pretty soon Looks like something's going to happen this summer, whether it's in person or video instruction formalized through Zoom classes you can join. We'll see what happens. Just stay in touch. Keep up with the club. Call if you're not sure. Mr. Pat Windward, Kailua Boys and Girls Club. If you knew me from KIS, Mr. Kent, same person, same deal. Look forward to talking to you again next week. We'll dial in more quadratic functions. Aloha.